opportunity to deliver the talk on common alerting protocol. So it's a new paradigm of public alerting for disaster management. So Srinivas sir already set the stage for me because he have already given a vivid description how this public alerting is very important in case of any public disaster management. So sir already told ki there is a four stage of disaster management starting from mitigation, then preparedness and preparedness for disaster, and then the disaster hits, and after hitting the when the disaster hits, then the response and the recovery phase comes. So after, so this is cycle. So this is a life of any disaster management. So before going to detail of common alerting protocol, I would like to before that I'd like to confirm my screen is visible, na sir? Every from can
Yes.
anybody confirm?
Yes, please. It is visible.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, so before going to in detail of common alerting protocol, so mainly why the public alerting is so important in case of disaster, because with rapid urbanization, so every country in the world is facing threats to their life due to natural and man-made disasters. And if we show the diagrams and show the statistics from UNI SDR, so in between 1998 to 2007, India is having near about 80 billion US dollar due to losses due to disasters. Similarly, if we see the right hand side the diagrams, so you can see near about 7.5 lakhs death is experienced around the world in between 1998 to 2007 due to earthquake. Similarly, 2 billion people are affected due to flood. So means the every world is facing a severe challenge due to disaster. Now, to mitigate and to better prepared and to recover and to restore after disaster, how ICT can play a better role. So our as a common alerting protocol is in the same line with this. So as I am saying in my earlier slide, so for any disaster to prevent any disaster, if we given any disaster alert in due time, that can save precious human life. So similar to disaster life cycle, there is a four stages of disaster alerts. So first one is monitoring and detection of disaster situation. So just like, so IMD detects that there is a deep depression in Bay of Bengal. So it may convert into the super cyclonic storm in coming 5 days. And after detecting this, they are continuously monitoring the its progress. So its path, its direction, its speed, and where it's going to landfall. And after detection and monitoring of this disaster, IMD publishing some bulletins, and after that IMD has to trigger some disaster alert right in time. Means the coastal public of Odisha, if I talk about the cyclone Fani, so coastal people of district Puri and Bhubaneswar has to be evacuated and they have to move to the cyclone shelter. So triggering of the right information is right time is one of the most important part of disaster alerting. Now, if I come to the next part, that is reaching the alert information to the right person in the right time. So why right person in right time? Because the cyclone going to landfall at 2 o'clock today, and right now at 12:30 I'm giving the alert. So there won't be such lead time so that people can evacuate and people can move to a safer place. So we have to trigger the alert quite before then the disaster hit to the actually disaster hit. Now, in case of tsunami, this thing is not possible because the tsunami detection time varies from 15 minutes to an hour. So if the earthquake happens near to Indian and coast under any in the sea near to Indian coastline, so in that case tsunami monitoring and detection and the lead time is not more than 15 to 30 minutes. So in that case, triggering time is less. But where there is a huge time like cyclone is detected near about at least 5 to 7 days before. So we have ample of time in our hand so that we can trigger the disaster alert right in time. Similarly, lightning, because in last year a lot of we have lost a huge number of people due to lightning in state of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Jharkhand. So lightning can also be detected 30 minutes before. So we have 30-minute lead time. So within 30 minutes, we have to reach the alert information, what they have to do, what is the action they need to take, right in time. So if we are alerting whole people of the Jharkhand, then the information won't be suitable. So if I am Sanchar Bhavan and I am alerting the people of Ghaziabad ki lightning going to happen in Delhi and you please stay inside your home. So the purpose will not be fulfilled in proper way. So we have to give the information in your geo-targeted manner where actual impact is there. So that it means we have to give impact-based warning. After that, the respond and rescue of the victims. So how the respond and the rescue operation is going on, this information just from this place, the rescue team is coming, so you should do this is, and the response. So this kind of purpose we also, there is a disaster alert can also be there. Now you have to think what happens when extreme weather goes out to the public. So they first look into that. Is it actually meant for me? And what I have to do. So if there is a high tide warning, so fishermen will ask and come to the government and they started asking, there is a high wave alert, so should I venture or should I not venture? And if I don't venture, so how will earn my daily wage? So we have to give precise warning. Next, how widely we distribute this alert in the impacted people of the impacted zone. The third question is what disaster management authority do to make their alert information easily accessible to the public. Now, generally cyclone information, when there is cyclone, the information is published in IMD website. The information is readily available with the news of in TV and radio. Along with some message is going to only the first responder or the who are involved in the disaster relief operation, just like DMs, block development officer, telecom circle officers, police department, NDRF team, SDRF team, so and so. But last mile, there is a gap in last mile reachability. So we need to ensure. So if some people is not watching the TV and not listening to radio, so right now I'm giving a presentation in at the right time. There's some earthquake happen in my place. So I'm not watching to TV and I'm not watching to radio. If the information published by the in their website, so the information not reaching to me. But I need immediately I need to evacuate my building. So the information need to reach to the last mile. So common alerting protocol is gapping this bridge. So that I already told, already covered this slide. So alert need to go out to the public as quickly as possible and in efficient manner. Next, better people are informed about the hazard and threat, the more life can be saved. Similarly, the more targeted alert, so more people in harm way to confident the message is intended precisely for them. Means if the disaster is going to affect in my area, So only this area should, people of this area should be informed, not other peoples. Next, the how, the is it actually early warning matters. So as I told, there is a lead time. So for every hazard, so detection of the hazard and becoming a disaster, so there is a gap in between half an hour to 6 hours. So just like a flash flood that happens in the Uttarakhand, so if it detect at the topmost when actually the glacier burst happens, and if we at the same point of time if we trigger the alert, so we may save some precious life. The people present in the tunnel, we may evacuate some of them. So early warning matters. Most of the cases, as per the UNDP, United Nations uh, Develop UNDP, UNDP, except a drought, for every other kind of disaster from flood to flash flood, tsunami to cyclone, for every kind of disaster, it's very useful, even for lightning, even for landslides, to a certain extent, because they are having less lead time. So for this, to every person, but we may reach to some certain of person. So certain person can be, at least certain people life can be saved. Next, what are the requirement of efficient early warning system? So means it should be integrated. Every agencies, like for weather, so flood. So in India, flood alert is generally given by the Central Water Commission. But flood is happens due to heavy rain, due to extremely heavy, very heavy rain, and the heavy rain warning is given by the IMD. So different organization is present in the ecosystem is for giving different kind of warning, and those organization is interdependent. So all those organizations need to be integrated, and one unified approach has to be finalized, just like a finalization of SOP, who will be responsible for which information, giving which information. Next, till date, whatever the information is giving through what the medias, all require manual intervention. So we need to reduce as much of manual process as much we can. So along with that, we have to facilitate the location specific, the geo targeted. So we have to give the one where the actually it going to impact it. It work only in the danger zones. One more point is mainly disaster prone areas like low-lying area, low-lying areas of the beside the river belt. Generally, the poor or illiterate people lives. Even in the coastals, where the fisherman lives, they are not that much literate. So that they can understand in English, or if they understand English, they don't understand the technical terminologies. So we have to give the mass warning dissemination in vernacular languages, and then we'll have to craft this message in such a way that should be easily understandable by the common Aam Janta of the India, Aam Janta of the country. So along with, in parallel to that, we have to ensure reachability and penetration among the masses. So just like I'm saying, if I'm not watching TV or listening to radio at this moment, so I should not be missed out. So there should be multi-channel. So during the presentation, if I'm not watching to the TV or radio, if the message comes in the mobile or some pop-ups comes in my screen, if there is some disaster alerts. So there is some earthquake alert for in your area, you should immediately evacuate. So I'm working in the PC. I may or may not see my phone also, but if it appears on my screen and I'm working with the one in my PC, so it will be definitely useful. So some state is already developed some solution, that is they have launched some mobile application, but that depends on individual interaction and interests. So if the person doesn't subscribe for something, or if the person doesn't install some app, so this person may be left out. So to address the specifically, we have to address all the illiterate persons and the person with disability. So we have to address all the every strata of the society. Now, until unless we create a mechanism, create an ecosystem to address in odd hours. Like in odd hours, there is a less person of available to provide the desired support and the desired service. So we need to automate things such a way. So in odd hours, this warning information can be reach out to the communities in well sufficient in time so that possibility of harm and loss can be reduced. Now I'm coming to what common alerting protocol is. So basically it's a ITUT standard, ITUT X.1303. So it's a XML based standard data format. So as I'm talking about, IMD is giving a warning for cyclone. Similarly, tsunami warning is given by the INCOAS, Indian Oceanic State Department. Forest fire giving responsible for giving alert for different kind of, but there is no unified template or no unified data format in which they can share the information and which can be used by the different media so that information can be pushed onto their system, and the information for that the information can be further disseminated at the last mile with proper action and set of advisories to the communities. So common alerting protocol provides us a standard data format which support us in exchanging public warning information in interoperable manner. So we need not to create a different structure for cyclone. We need not to create a different structure for giving volcano eruption warning. We needed to create a structure for thunderstorm warning. So every kind of hazards, all kind of hazards can be quartered in a single data format. So that is CAP actually is. And same data format can be used for giving warning through radio, to television, to social media, from cell broadcast to SMS to satellite to sirens, coastal sirens, everything. So same format can be used for different. Now we have to understand this CAP. So at the same time, the IMD has to generate the CAP warning. Just a minute. So just like for tsunami or earthquake or storm, so responsible organization has to generate their warning information in CAP format. Similarly, the radio broadcaster has to understand this CAP format. So presently the radio broadcaster, Indian radio broadcaster is majorly like All India Radio. So All India Radio is migrating to their system in digital from analog to digital, but their analog system is not CAP compliant. So either we have to make this system CAP compliant, or this system either this system has to be CAP ready, or with some interworking system we need to make this system CAP ready so that this system can be automated and automatic alert dissemination can be possible. There is basically CAP works in 6 C's philosophies. First one is coordination. So coordination means is avoid duplication. Second point is consistency. So information, when the information always any disaster information come from the single channel, so people will start believing. So there is a consistently start coming from the single sources. So people start relying, this is an authentic source. So whenever the information is given from coming from this source, we need to rely on this source, and we can act based upon the information and instruction given by the government. Because presently cyclone, in case of cyclone, in case of any disaster, we are getting information from different sources. So we need to verify, is it correct? So if there is earthquake, when we feel earthquake, we first go to the news side and search, yes, there is some earthquake or not. We But if this information comes from the single sources, so people start believing, yes, the information comes from this website or this channel. So means it's a trusted information. So you can believe on this or you can act upon this. Next thing is multiple channels. This we have channels. So instead of single channels, we have to follow the multiple channels. Fourth C is the completeness. So we need to remove any kind of unambiguity. So any kind of ambiguity. So the message should be unambiguous. Like if the disaster message shows cyclone is the cyclone Fani is currently located at this nautical mile and this nautical mile and 230 kilometers northwest from Gopalpur with and moving towards 30-degree angle towards northwest, and it may have severe it may landfall near this area with 200 to 500 kilometer speed. Okay, so if the message form like that, so people don't get what they have to do. So if we instead of this, if we form the message cyclone Nivar is going to landfall near Bhubaneswar at 12 o'clock, please stay indoor. So message should be complete. It should remove any ambiguity. Next is coverage. So coverage means, as I told, it should be geo-targeted, location specific. And the fourth and sixth and the last utmost important point is the control, that is security. So as this information is directly reaching to the end public, so we need to secure this system, highly secure this system. If any unintentional message has been disseminated through the distrusted sources, so which create itself a disaster among the community. So we need to create this system, need to protect this system from any kind of hacking, any kind of phishing, any kind of unintentional access. Okay. So that the trustworthiness of the system will keeps among the community. Now I'm giving the cap at structures. So there is a huge number of fields. Some of them are mandatory fields and some of the optional fields. As I told, the same message pattern can be used for different disaster words. So if I giving in going in detail, so there is mainly four category of tag. First one is alert tag, and under alert tag there is maybe one or multiple info tag, and under info tag there are one or multiple resource tag and one or multiple area tag. So I'm explaining a bit late detail. Every alert information must be generated from some sender. So it must be generated by IMD, CWC. So sender information must be there. Now, what is the sending date time? At what time they have sent this alert? So that must be there. So what is the message status? It's an actual message or it's a testing message. This kind of information should be there. And every warning should be identified with a unique identity. So that is message ID identifier. So those are the mandatory parameters. Along with that, other certain parameters like scope. Scope is we can give the alert to masses. We can give the alert to some restricted groups. We can give the alert to only to the disaster management authorities. So we can create its scope. Similarly, in info, what is the event category? It's a red category event, orange category event, a very severe event. What is the action type? What the action need to be taken? They need to evacuate, they need to take shelter, they need to keep calm. What are the action response type? What are the urgency? So they need to act immediately, very immediately. They need to know, they need to don't act right now. They have to keep a look, they have to watch. What is the severity? What is the certainty? Okay, very likely, most likely, unlikely. So those are the standard parameters. Now under a resource, if you want to send some image, in some audio files, some video files, so that also can be given through this resource tag. Next is area. So you can define any area by in terms of polygon, in terms of circle, in terms of any pin codes. Along with that, you can define also from this height, this altitude to this altitude, the event going to affect. So same thing with the same parameter you can use from other you also. So in the infotech, you can also see there is other parameters like instruction. What are the instruction? Those is not mandatory parameter, but you can give also those are the instruction parameter. Exact sender name, which person triggered this alert. So it can be useful for tracking the generation in case of duplication, in case of redundancy. What is the effective time? So every alert has its own expiry time. So this warning is effective from 12 o'clock today to 3 p.m. today. Contact info, contact numbers, any web URL. So this kind of information you can same. So with the same structure, you can use it for different message like this: IMD, test, alert, public. Okay, and along with that, languages. So these are I'm giving some sample how it's formed. Now, based upon these tags, automatically a public warning template, just like an event, like a cyclone alert has been issued for Puri area by sender name IMD. Person in this area is encouraged to take shelter, and instruction: keep your windows closed and keep your mobile charged. Only put up your data connections. The event is rated as very severe and is very likely. Responsive action should be taken immediately. For more information, you can visit mosam.gov.in or contact 011-260-3535. So the information we are feeding in contact, URI, urgency. So based upon these tags, the message itself automatically generated, which can be easily understandable by the public. It's not containing any technical jargons. It's having the meaningful information which can be easily understandable by the public, and they can take necessary action, and the instruction is also clearly given in that. So it removes all possibility of the ambiguity. Now come to the worldwide implementation. How this common lighting protocol globally accepted. So first, the common lighting protocol is implemented in US. So US started implementation in 2006, and finally in 2011 they have operationalized this system in name of countrywide operation system. So before going to further, I just want to add one more point. So CAP is a different thing. So any organization say I am CAP compliant, means they can generate CAP, they can receive CAP. But what I am talking about, the country is having CAP compliant public alerting system. So CAP, every organization can have their system CAP ready. So if Airtel say they are CAP ready, All India Radio or Big FM say we are CAP ready, means if they receive some CAP warning, so their system is capable of dissemination of CAP file. And what I am presently describing here, the country is having to integrate those agencies in together in a single platform, integrated platform, and as per the SOP, they are governing the from end to end, from initiation of forecasting to generating of alert to approving, from dissemination, and to get feedback from the dissemination media. This number of SMS has been disseminated in that area, and this much SMS has been successfully delivered, this much SMS has been failed, and this much of Android mobile has been get notifications. So these are the end-to-end system. So I'm describing about the end-to-end system. So this end-to-end system has been first implemented in US in name of Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, IPOS, in 2011. They generally used to send warning information through mobile phone and radio, television, and over the radio. After that, Canada is implemented and operationalized in 2018. They are also sending alert in through television, radio, and mobile network. Initially, Germany and Italy is giving the cap compliant warning public alerting system, but information of European Union, European Electronic Communication has made it mandatory to their member states that all need to deploy their public warning system using the telephony network to alert everyone in a specific area about any ongoing crisis or any disasters. So that they have set at that timeline, they have to operationalize this system by end of June 2022. New Zealand and Greece has been launched this system in 2018 and 2019. Recently in 2020, China also launched their full-fledged systems. Australia is quite ahead in compared to other states because they are deployed this system in local level, in provincial level. So since 2012 level, they don't have the system at the country level, but they have their mechanism in provincial level, and they have operationalized this SMS only for SMS based system from 2012. Germany, which is already used to use this system from 2013 onwards, and they had named the system is in the same league. So we have already implemented this system in Tamil Nadu. It's operational as a pilot, and just before the meeting today morning, we have received the approval from NDM and MHA under National Capacity Building and Building Fund. The complete fund has been allocated to CDOT for Pan India rollout, and they need to be rolled out in Pan India within 18 months. So by end of 2022, India will be also fully cap ready, cap compliant ready. So which named NDMA has named this platform as Sachet, Samekit Chetavni Tantra, or in English they can told it Cap Integrated Alert System. So CDOT is doing implementation of this project. So it will be first it will be available with mobile SMS, Android application, internet-based solutions, and the next phase the radio broadcaster, televisions also included. In phase 1, the Gagan and Navig systems for the fishermen and for the trekkers and the person involved in expedition in the hilly area also get this facility. So these are the present status of India also. So India is not left behind. So India is also in same direction and right in time. So by end of 2022, our country will be also cap ready. Now, before going to in detail, so as sir already told, so in India, different countries having different disaster profile. So out of 36 states and union territories, 27 states are disaster prone. Some of the are prone to landslides, some of the prone are to avalanche, some of the states are prone to, so this is like coastal states having near about 5,700 kilometers are prone to cyclones. Those are the 13 coastal states and union territories there. Those are prone to cyclone. Now, what is the major challenge in implementing CAP in India? So in most of those developed countries, either have only one language. So they have implemented this technology either in English. Let's just like US also implement this technology in 2011 in English. And recently 2019, they have given another language in that is Latin in 2019. So on that, in this case, India having a complete different dimension. So India is a home to several hundreds of languages. So there is 23 constitutionally recognized official languages. Though Hindi or English are typically used as an official language, but state government use their respective their local language as their respective official languages. So if I categorize the country, so near about 16 to 70 languages is there in which the system has to be compliant. So this is a major challenge in implementing CAP in India. Another challenge is the population density. So more population, the more dense area is more vulnerable, and it's a more challenging to reach to that much of volume of population in right in time. So this is a major another challenge in implementation in CAP. So sir already told कि those are the major disaster we have experienced in cyclone Fani. Sorry, last 5 years, from Uttarakhand forest fire to Kerala flood, cyclone Gaja, Bihar, cyclone Fani, COVID, cyclone Amphan, Nisagra, and recently we have experienced cyclone Nivar and Burebi and Uttarakhand glacier burst. So those are the major disaster in India experience. So starting from COVID-19, first our system used it during Kerala flood, then and COVID-19 cyclone Amphan. So from 2020 onwards, most of the disaster where the warning is early warning is trigger is there. So in most of the cases, CDOT this CAP platform has been used by the disaster management authority from triggering SMS. So we have a huge ICT infrastructure in our country is readily available. So we can leverage this huge infrastructures to send public warning and to mitigate the risk. So as I already told, key in Indian there is some missing link in Indian existing warning system, that is the no standardized mechanism, limited communication medium and utilization to audience reach, no location specific alerts in vernacular languages. There is delay in reaching information in traditional approach. So if we say ki disaster on detection of if there is a 4 step, so last step for media to citizens, this is not present in this current scenario and not location specific. So we are fulfilling this, we are bridging the whole gap with a new technology called common alerting protocol. So first 2016, what is the initiative India taking from the CAP implement? So 2016, NDMA has taken the first initiative for implementation CAP. 2017, NDMA urged to DOT to implement CAP. So in 2018, DOT involved CDOT to develop this platform, and CDOT has developed its beta version and used this beta version successfully tested in 12 states, and same platform used during Kerala flood and Sri Amarnath Jatra. 2019, we have got the pilot rollout request for one state, that is Tamil Nadu. So in Tamil Nadu, along with IMD and Central Water Commission, this platform has been rolled out in 2020. And during COVID pandemic, this system has been offered in name of COVID Savdhan to all the states for sending COVID related disaster warning, and 320 crores of SMS has been disseminated using this platform. And this is in line with PM 10-point agendas, which recently our Honorable Prime Minister has given for disaster risk reduction to make our country disaster resilient and Atmanirbhar. So this system is indigenously developed by CDOT. So it's taking our country towards more public safety and more disaster resiliency. And 2020 we are ready to roll out. So by 2022 the system will be rolled out in across the country. So what are the possible use cases? So as I told, this system has been named by NDMA as Sachet, Samay Ki Chetavani Tantra, or in English, Integrated Alert System. So this system can be used in any stage of the disaster, like pre-disaster from alerting during flood, cyclone, avalanche, lightning, thunderstorm, fisherman advisory, shelter and evacuation instruction. Even during disaster, alert updates, do's and don'ts, helpline numbers, information about safe places, and post-disaster regarding relief related information, landslide location, earthquake rescue and relief operation details. So in the right bottom corner, we have giving the whole ecosystem that will be used in the phase 1. So phase 1, we will be integrating all the telecom service provider which already integrated. There will launch some mobile application, will public portal, browser notification and social media. So I'll also show how it will be possible. We're also integrating Gagan and Navik with ISRO and Airport Authority of India. We'll do a pilot trial for TV and radio channels. We are all in process. We will give some glimpse of that also in my upcoming slides. We're also roping to India. We'll be also roping Indian Railways to integrate their railway announcement system and the coastal sirens that is installed during in the coastal belt. We will integrate IMD, Central Water Commission, INQUAS, DGRE, that is responsible division of the DRDO, which is responsible for giving avalanche related warning, Forest Survey of India, which is responsible for forest fires. So we are integrating all these agencies, and as sir already told, state is the responsible for disaster alerting. So all the state level and union territorial disaster management authority will be integrated in this platform for app as an authorizing agency. So they are authorized to disseminate the warning at the public. So whatever the information will give by the IMD, the respectively SDMA will be authorized the alert, and this will be disseminated among the public through this mode. So these are the basically vertical and horizontal structures, how this information will flow. So CDOT is developing this integrated alerting platform that will basically collect, process, transmit, store, control, monitor, along with the network management system, because it is a huge system, because disaster comes once in a year, but the system has to be ready for that particular time. So an efficient management and monitoring and regular periodic mock drill has to be taken place. So for that, CDOT has developed this integrated gap early warning system. So if I if I explain what is the steps to give a alert in a particular area. So first there will be for any users, they may be from IMD, they might be from state authorities. So we'll create their login credentials. So they have to log in. They have to log in the platform. They have to select the target, just like the highlighted area. They have to, in this area, they want to select. You want to give the warning. They have to type the message. They can give the message in English and regional language both. Just like as per IMD, Chennai and adjoining area of Tiruvallur, Kanchipuram and Chengalpattu district will experience heavy rainfall during next 3 hours. So this kind of message they have to given. They have to select the media in which media they want to disseminate it through TV. So that will be governed by the SOP, which is in process of formalization. And finally, the warning will be disseminated through the respective dissemination media. And after dissemination, the statistics. Okay, how much number of person has been received the SMS, how much after a subscriber got this information, because this is a very useful information. This data will be very crucial for planning the disaster recovery and restoration phase. So people, they can get a rough estimate how much person is stuck and how much person is there. So that much of relief and rescue operation has to be planned accordingly. Now, similarly, if how this warning is geo-targeted reaching to the media. So if we are selecting this area, so only mobile subscriber will within this area will get the SMS. So basically, we are filtering out the BTS towers, and we are identifying which either through cell broadcast we are doing broadcast, but from these two towers. So after that, in case of SMS, so we are taking the VLR process, and the SMS has been disseminated in this targeted area. Only those subscriber present last to this mobile towers will get this SMS. For TV, we will target the area. So in DTH case, those are present in that pin code area, because DTH having the pin code information in their database. So based upon their pin code, we are filtering the DTH subscribers, and they will get this notification on their screen. Similarly, radio will be selected, the coastal siren and the Facebook, Twitters, and the Google. So if there is a flood warning or some warning, so on the person who are using the Google Map or Android install the app, they will also get the notifications. I'm playing a video like for your, just a minute. Just like see, and like this, it will appear on the screen. So it will not affect your experience, and after some time it will disappear, and it will store as a archival in your message. So if you need, you can reopen this message. You can try out after some time also. This is we tested with Tata Sky recently. Now I'm giving one of the demo of the cell broadcast. Like if you can listen, the specific sound is coming. So presidential alert, this is so like this message, the cell broadcast message will be received. But as you see in the third point, so cell broadcast depend on the handsets. So there is some dependency. So all handsets are not capable of receiving cell broadcast message. So there may be some sets which are left beyond, but we are working with DOT headquarter and TEC to make this thing. So this thing, we are working with the OEMs so that they can give the patch in the mobile updates, software updates, so that these things can be enabled in the mobile phones. We are also integrated with Google. So whenever there's a, just like last year we have tested in Bihar. So if when we are using the Google map, there is some alert in Google. So it will automatically appears on the Google map. It will say that is a normal flood alert in that area. So people can plan accordingly. So as I told earlier also, we are use this system as a COVID Savdhan for updates of test center, isolation centers. So 3.2 billion 320 crore SMS has been disseminated using this in 10 languages used by 25 states and union territories in between April 2022 to November 2022. So different message area has been selected, different messages. So you can see in the left bottom corner is one of the very interesting message. So one corona affected person traveled by the Haryana Railways bus number this and this, which started from 8:30 p.m. from Delhi to Yamunanagar on 11th March, and person who traveled by this bus may contact this person. So like this message has been disseminated. You can see another message in this here where the Meghalaya government has been sent about distribution of distribution of ration. Another thing is appears by the government of Goa for all religious and social gathering is banned up to 24. So different message has been disseminated which make the government easy to reach out their citizens in targeted manner. So this is a from starting from 2018 Amarnath Jatra, from cyclone Gaja to Kerala flood, cyclone Amphan, COVID, Nisarga, recently cyclone Nivar and Burevi, which crossed cyclone Nivar hit Tamil Nadu and cyclone Burevi crossed near coastal part of Tamil Nadu. So this platform has been rigorously used and this much of SMS has been disseminated using this platform. So this is the exactly status. So they are having some image where Kerala flood is used. There's some news clippings of our platform. So our Honorable Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad ji specifically mentioned about the COVID Savdhan system, which has been used for targeting messages. And other cyclone Amphan and in message. So this system has been tested in the different parts, integrated with the IMD in Himachal, in Odisha. So after Fani, we have tested the system in Odisha, and after that Odisha, we have received a certificate from Odisha government, and they are very keen to implement the system in their system in their state. So Kerala is used, so that's all. So I think if there are any question, I'm running out of time. So I've taken 5 minutes or 10 minutes extra, 10 minutes extra. But if there is any question, so I'll be happy to answer this question.
Saurabh ji will be taking questions in the last after the session by Amit Chauhan ji.
Okay, sir.
So just request you to kindly stay here for another 10-20 minutes.
Okay, sir, no issue.
Okay. So thank you, Saurabh ji, very much for discussing the CAP in detail, the flow of messages and the work being done by CDOT in this area. It was actually very informative and useful presentation. So just kindly stay for the Q&A session. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So may I now request, so friends, we have Mr. Amit Chauhan from CDOT. Amit Chauhan is hello sir. He's a team leader from CDOT and he's involved in the work of priority call routing. So may I now request Shri Chauhan to deliver his talk. Over to you, Mr. Chauhan. Thank you.
Hello. Am I audible to all?
Yes, you are audible.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Myself, Amit Chauhan. Actually, we are working in many projects like CMS, CEIR. CMS is deployed nationwide, and CIR, which is being deployed in 3 circles: Delhi, Mumbai, Maharashtra. Or currently, my talk is on PCR. So actually, let me start my slides. My slides are visible?
Yeah, they are, I think, appearing in the process of appearing. Yes, now slides are visible.
Okay. So basically, what is PCR actually? Actually, PCR is basically priority call routing. Like in our telecom, actually, basically TSP has the privilege to set priority to some numbers. Like what variety basically? It is basically when there is a lot of calls in the exchanges. So the TSP can set priority to some numbers so that if there is congestion in the exchange, so the calls to these numbers should be through. Okay. 1 minute. So basically, you understand the priority call. But what is the system basically? PCR. PCR is basically it is a priority call routing system which basically centralized application to all the stakeholders of PCR. The stakeholders is what like NDMA, SDMA, and TSPs. What basically they do? This application basically facilitate these stakeholders to basically create a PCR list. PCR list can be TSP wise, it can be LSA wise. Okay. These lists, when created by the stakeholders NDMA, SDMA, they can upload these lists to the TSP servers. When the list is created or some modification is done to the PCR list. Or basically this system is also required to trigger the activation of these PCR list. Sir, 1 minute, sorry for the interruption. One minute, sir. So basically, the system is basically to give the triggers of these PCR list to activate in the TSP's exchanges. And the TSP basically receive these triggers to activate these PCR lists in their exchanges. Then the question arises that why this system is needed. Because in the case of disaster, when the network is congested, okay, so the TSP basically beforehand they know what are the PCR numbers so that they can provision these numbers in their exchanges beforehand. This is basically a system which gives the PCR list to the TSP beforehand. So its need is arised to create a nationwide PCR system to list down the PCR numbers to the TSPs. Disaster management authorities shall also have an option to give triggers to TSP to activate, deactivate the PCR numbers in case of disaster happen. basically what are the features of the system? Feature hai, it basically a centralized database of all the PCR numbers. PCR numbers, LSA and TSP wise. It is basically a system, password and login based system to all the stakeholders of the PCR system. It is like access control system, like there are different stakeholders of the system. So like NDMA, SDMA, they have their super users, so they can create their normal users and give the access control to these users. PCR numbers addition modification, like some PCR numbers are added, modified, list created by the NDMA, SDMA. So the addition modification, they can be done by this system. Notification means when some like PCR number is added, so the PCR number which is being added to notification is given to that number also. Notification is given to the TSP also, कि some PCR number is added, and the SDMA and NDMA also, SMS and mail also. Report generation means like what are the list modified, what are the PCR numbers added. So all the reports are provided to the authorized users. Report generation on various activities, like what are the activities being done by NDMA, SDMA and other users in the system. So that report is generated by this system. And then PCR list activation deactivation request means the PCR numbers which is being given to the TSP for provisioning in their network. So the list activation, like that numbers is to be activated in NDMA or SDMA, whichever. This notification is also given on SMS and mail also. So basically, stakeholder of the system is like main stakeholder is the NDMA. NDMA is basically does what? It basically creates the PCR list in the system. It is circle wise, it is state wise, or it is TSP wise. These lists basically forwarded to the TSP to provision in their exchanges. NDMA can also place triggers when some disaster happen in some area, some state. So he can place a trigger, and that trigger goes to particular TSPs. NDMA also have access to PCR statistics, like what numbers are modified, what lists are modified, what PCR added, deleted. So all type of reports are accessible to NDMA. Other stakeholder is SDMA. SDMA is also doing the same thing, but within their states. Like he can add, modify, delete, or add numbers to PCR list. But NDMA can add, modify the SDMA PCR list. Okay. SDMA can also place triggers to activate these lists on TSP's exchanges, but within his jurisdiction, like his SDMA is also have access to the PCR statistics reports, which is basically belongs to their region. Other stakeholders is basically main stakeholder is TSP. He basically received the PCR list which is being generated from the system by the NDMA, SDMA. He basically received these lists, and there are two type of acknowledgements. First, he acknowledged that some PCR list is received by me, okay, and then he acknowledged that these lists are provisioned in my exchanges. So these two information is being known to the NDMA, SDMA, that the numbers are received by the TSP, and the number is being provisioned by the TSP. After provisioning, there comes the process of activation. Like when some disaster happens, then the NDMA, SDMA basically activate the already provisioned list, because he knows what actually numbers are being provisioned by the TSP in their PCR system. So when disaster happen, the NDMA SDMA basically activate those lists which are being provisioned by the TSP. So basically, system is what, like some authorities are deciding the PCR numbers, the priority numbers beforehand, and they basically provide these numbers to TSP. This is automated. These numbers are provided to TSP, and they acknowledged, and this acknowledgement comes to the authority NDMA SDMA, and they basically see what numbers are already being provisioned in the system. And when disaster happen, they actually basically give the trigger to activate or deactivate after activation. One more stakeholder is DOT. Basically, it's a project of NDMA and DOT. So DOT is basically a stakeholder. It basically interface between the TSP and the PCR system to implementing this interfacing between the PCR and the TSP. It basically also have access to audit reports. You can say what type of users in the system and their activities. And third part is exception reporting to TSP. It basically tells about that. Suppose some number is added in the PCR list. Some NDMA or SDMA, like some Airtel number is added, but it goes to Airtel TSP and he says that this is not my number. So that type of exception reporting is done by the DOT users. State Home Department is one. Actually, we have provision in the system that there can be many entities, like it is NDMA, SDMA, State Home Department. It can be IMD. It can be any other. Like so, there is provision to add some more entities in the system. He can also create their own list PCR of their PCR numbers. So we have provisioned. Basically, it is simple architecture of PCR system, like all the entities like NDMA, SDMA, MHA, they are basically connect to the system through internet. System is not very complex, but it is like some of the main part is the web portal of the system, which basically provides the interface to all the entities like NDMA, SDMA to push their PCR numbers in the system. They basically now becomes their our notification handlers in this case. It basically like our backend system. It is SMS handler, notification handler, PCR list synchronization. Synchronization is what, like number added by the SDMA, number added, same number added by the NDMA. So that basically synchronize the list of SDMA, NDMA, and one single number goes to the TSP. So basically, this is the backbone of our system, and one web portal is provided, and one is like database, which basically stores centralized PCR numbers of pan India. So simple architecture. Some of the users of the system, like we have created one administrator of the system, like NDMA. It can be used by the NDMA, and that user have the privilege to create entities in the system, like NDMA, SDMA, MHA, Home Department. It can create more entities. So basically, he can create like one super user of each entity, and then that entity basically creates their users and do all the things. We have, like I already mentioned, that we have given the access control. Access control means the super user can have privilege to give some access to some user, some access to some user, and all that. Like he can revoke some list creation to some normal user and all that. I had captured some user interfaces of the system, like it is like we have given this system to NDMA for POC. They had used this system in Kerala floods. We had created PCR list for them. They also create some PCR list. So this system is given to them. But after that, like the system is currently not in use by some issues is there. Maybe it is at top levels. What are the issues? Actually, I don't know actual issues, but the system is there, but it is not currently in use. But they use this in Kerala floods. We have given user management, like all users can be seen here, they can be added, they can be modified, which is what is the entity name, NDMA, SDMA, DOT user, TSP users, all are created here. User management, from this screen they can create, select entity and create users. Modification, then can modify the users, they can modify their own profiles. This is basically the PCR list, this is like that, SDME created this number, this is the PCR number, which circle, which TSP, what is the name, what is the designation, like they can see this details, the NDMA, SDMA, but when this number goes to TSP, only the number goes to TSP, not the details. So they can see only the number, they have to provision this number. Okay, but the list, it is like director, it is SDM of the district. So this detail is seen here. What is the priority given to that number 7, 6, 3, like 0 to 7. This is the remark by the TSP, PCR facility provided. Okay, state accepted. So these are all here. The PCR list addition, like we have given, like you can add number to PCR. Okay, this when you add this number, particularly this number is added, you select the LSA and TSP. When you submit, this basically added in the PCR list, and the notification is given to TSP, and TSP basically acknowledge that they received this number, and the second acknowledgement that they provisioned this number. Okay. Modify, you can do the modification, the PCR number, the same is here. When you modify the PCR number, modify priority, the same is like a notification is given to TSP so that they can reconfigure the number in their system. This is screen is given to activate the PCR list in some state where the disaster happened. He can select states and activate the PCR list. In this case also the trigger is given to TSP of that state. That state belongs to which circle, and that circle TSP which will receive the triggers, and they acknowledge that they received they actually activated the PCR list in their system. So it is a simple system. A web portal is provided, and backend pay there is trigger handling, and list creation and all that. And basically actually work is done by the TSP to activate that PCR list in their system. Basically this system is a centralized system to create the PCR list nationwide, state-wise, LSA-wise and all that, and to synchronize these lists to create a single list. The TSP user can also see the trigger provided by the NDMA, SDMA to this to the system. So they can also by login they can also see the triggers, but they can also receive the SMS mail of the trigger. And if they provide, because till now they had not provided us to a interface to basically activate that trigger automatically in their exchange. If they provide that interface also, then we can also do that also. We can when we fire a trigger, the NDMA, SDMA fire a trigger, then that actually PCR list is actually activated in their system. So currently they have to do it manually. Like we have given triggers from here, they receive the trigger in the system also, the SMS also, and mail also. So they have to manually do it in their exchanges to activate that PCR list. But it can be done automatically. We have done it in CMS, like when we provision numbers, then it automatically provision in the exchange of the TSP. So if they provide us interface, then we can do also that. So that is basically the system of PCR. Thank you for listening me.
Thank you very much, Amit ji.
Thank you, sir.
For this wonderful session on PCR. So friends, now the floor is open for any question and answers. You can raise your hand and we can take the questions one by one. I would request all the three speakers to kindly take their questions.
Good afternoon. I am Shobana, DDG Technology from Kerala LSA. My question is to Mr. Basu. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible. Yes, please, ma'am.
Actually, I am hearing about this CAP for quite a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
The pilot project, of course, was implemented in Kerala. Of course, before my joining, I have very much heard about that. So my main take is that what is the status of the implementation of CAP for the different nationwide or other states? Because I was told that there was some commercials being worked out between Kerala state and the CDOT, and finally that was not that perhaps did not work out, and now it is being heard that it is being implemented in the national level. So just I would like to know exactly what is the position and when we can, because last cyclone Burevi, which was also to affect Kerala, luckily it did not hit Tamil Nadu or Kerala. So that time also we were discussing about this. Just I would like to know.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am, for raising this question. So basically, this CAP project, the beta was primarily first used in Kerala only in 2018 Kerala flood, and NDMA has selected state of Tamil Nadu for pilot project, which we have already completed, and just today we have received financial approval from NDMA and in Ministry of Home Affairs, MHA, and DOT for